All right, let's get at it. 1-800-636-8686. Smack Off 18. We go this time to D.C. Dan in D.C. came with a really strong RSVP this week. Let's see if he backs it up right now with the call. Dan, it's all your show. What's up?
Romy, great to be in the jungle on what is soon to be a national holiday. Gino, see you in another 10 years, hopefully. Take your time coming back. Jim, there are plenty of reasons for optimism in D.C. right now. You can see it in how well the Nationals are playing. Granted, the attendance has not been very good. It's been disappointing, but it's important to realize that we didn't have a baseball team in this town for 30 years, so our fans are not that knowledgeable about the game. For instance, only 20,000 people showed up for Bruce Harper's debut. Only 20,000 for a phenom like Bruce Harper? Disgraceful. Memo to DC baseball fan. A kid with the skill set of a Bruce Harper only comes along every 30 years. Now get your asses out to the court and support him. I'm telling you, Romy, this kid is special. He reminds me of a young Joe Garagio. And Philadelphia, if you really want to take your shot at my boy Bruce, at least have Halladay or Lee hit the kid. Don't have your Vanity Fair cover model Cole Hamels hit him. Romy, do you remember that Vanity Fair cover shoot Bob Gibson did back in the day? Neither do I. Cole, if you're old school, then Justin Bieber is hardcore. Joe in the OC thinks you're soft. Speaking of the Nationals, how about them pranking their superstar pitcher on the day of his scheduled start? Strasburg is going against the Padres and someone decides it'd be funny to put Icy Hot in his jockstrap? Hilarious, right? He goes out, gets lit up, and, that's really not a prank. It's outright sabotage. What's next? Do they kneecap Harper when he's in the batter's box? How about beating Ryan Zimmerman with a bag of oranges in the on-deck circle? It's always good for a laugh, and it doesn't leave a mark. Or they can just go all out and pour sugar in the gas tank of the team plane. That's a funny prank. The NBA playoffs are rolling along, and this whole LeBron scenario is fascinating. He's the best player in the world for the first 45 minutes of a game, and then he looks like a little league right fielder in the last three. Please don't hit it to me. LeBron, Timmy Lupus from the Bad News Bears thinks you need to show more confidence. Looking back on it, LeBron, maybe it wasn't such a good idea to guarantee 8 titles and make people call you King James. Check back with America when you get out of the psych ward. The Lakers are always fun to watch, and Andrew Bynum is obviously ready to assume the role of captain. As a basketball fan, you just have to love Bynum's constant, disinterested, and entitled look. That's a real leader. Bynum reminds me of a lazier, more apathetic Warren Coolidge from White Shadow, and frankly, I didn't think that was possible. And all you Laker fans on Twitter going after Steve Blake and his wife, come after me. Seriously, come after me on Twitter. I could really use the followers. It's at Dan from DC. And I actually like death threats. It makes me feel like I'm making a difference. Romy, I am rooting for Oklahoma City, and I think they're the odds-on favorite to win it all. Mostly I'm rooting for the Thunder because I'm curious to see how they'll celebrate a title in Oklahoma City. What will they do? Turn over a stagecoach? Light the apothecary on fire? Loot the blacksmith barn? I don't know. However you celebrate, Thunder fans, just be careful out there and don't get too crazy or the sheriff will wind up a posse and you could end up in Boot Hill. Actually, is Oklahoma City even able to hear this call? Has the Marconi transmitter made it all the way to OKC? Really, really hoping that Jay Moore calls in today. He needs to get his name out there. Last year at this time, he was co-starring in a movie with Matt Damon that opened at 3,000 cinemas across the country. And this year, he's starring in a comedy routine with Jay Stu at Shenanigans. Jay, the Smack Off is as good a place as any to re-enter the world of entertainment. Welcome back, buddy. Victor in NoCal. On Twitter, Vic calls himself Broadway, and he fancies himself as a modern-day Joe Namath. And I would agree. He wins the big game once, and gravy trains that to an otherwise average career. Vic, keep using your Smack-Off title to get into clubs in the Castro district. Just don't call up Rome in 20 years and tell him, I want to kiss you. Romy, keep up the good work. You're a national treasure. Clones, follow me on Twitter, at Dan from DC. I've been called the greatest tweeter of my generation. My father was also the greatest tweeter of his generation. Granted, that meant an entirely different thing in the 60s. War DC finally getting a long overdue title. Late.
That's how you do it. That's a great smack-off call. Great smack-off call because the guy hit every single element and, wait for it, he talks sports. He talks sports. That guy understands the format. I'm not saying that you can't crack other clones. I'm not saying that clone-on-clone crime is not permitted. What I'm saying is don't do it exclusively. Don't do it in a manner which is played and tired, and talk sports. It's still a sports talk show. And the guy got in a good Coolidge reference for me because he knows I love the White Shadow. Good job, Dan. It's a great phone call. But I don't have to ask you where to slot that because one caller got in and got run. One got in and got racked. 2 calls in. Gino didn't make it to the end of his phone call. That guy did. Something else. I'll let you go on. Hey, give me the time on that call. I'll let you go on as long as it's great. You went about 4 minutes. 1-800-636-8686. Let's keep moving.